At 67, Leonard had expected a quiet, predictable retirement. Golf on Thursdays, dinner with his wife Margaret on Fridays, and lazy Saturday mornings with black coffee and the newspaper. What he hadn't expected was the odd discomfort that had started creeping into his daily routine. It was subtle at first, a slower stream when he urinated, a lingering pressure afterward, a need to wake up once or twice at night. He brushed it off. Just getting older, he told himself. But by the time he turned 68, the nagging symptoms had worsened. His doctor gave it a name: benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, an enlarged prostate. It wasn't cancer, the doctor said. It was common. Most men experienced it to some degree. Leonard nodded, accepted the pamphlet he was handed, and moved on. But he couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, he sat on the edge of his bed, scrolling through health forums on his phone. The conversations were a strange mix. Some men complained bitterly, others joked, and a few shared what they believed had helped them. Among the odd suggestions and vitamin ads, one repeated phrase caught Leonard's eye: daily ejaculation keeps the prostate healthy. He blinked. He read it again and again. Some posts claimed daily masturbation reduced prostate congestion. Some cited studies. Others just said, try it, you'll see. Leonard wasn't shy. He and Margaret had shared a good sex life for decades, though it had slowed with age. But masturbation, well, that had always been private, a quiet, unspoken thing. And now it seemed it might also be. Therapeutic, curious, skeptical, and just a little amused, Leonard decided to try it, not obsessively, just once a day, quietly, without pressure or expectation. Weeks passed. Then something strange began to happen. First, the night waking eased. What had been 2 or 3 trips to the bathroom shrank to 1. Then none. At first, he thought it was coincidence. Maybe his tea intake had changed. Maybe the meds were kicking in. But he hadn't started the medication yet. He was waiting to see how his body responded on its own. Then he noticed the stream was stronger, smoother. That lingering pressure had faded. There was no burning, no hesitation, just relief. And not just physically. He felt lighter, more grounded. The quiet stress he hadn't even realized he'd been carrying, the anxiety about his aging body, the quiet dread that something inside him was breaking, eased. One morning, Margaret noticed the change. "You're sleeping better," she said as she stirred cream into her coffee. "You're not getting up as much." Leonard nodded. "Yeah, I feel better lately." She looked at him over the rim of her mug, curious. "You doing anything different?" He hesitated, then smiled. "Just trying to stay regular." She laughed, not pressing further, but the truth sat with him all day. What began as curiosity had become something more. A ritual, not just for physical relief, but for care, for connection to a body that was aging, yes, but still alive, still functioning. He dove deeper into the science. He found that regular ejaculation could flush fluids from the prostate, potentially reducing inflammation and congestion. Some small studies had hinted that frequent sexual activity might be linked to a lower risk of prostate cancer. Others debated the frequency, the methods, the sample sizes. Nothing was definitive. But Leonard didn't need a medical journal to confirm what he felt. He was more comfortable. His mood was steadier. He was less irritable, more focused. Even Margaret commented one night as they watched an old Western. "You're in a better mood lately. You've got your spark back." He squeezed her hand. "Trying to take care of myself." A few months in, he returned to his doctor for a follow-up. The physician was surprised. "Your symptoms have improved since your last visit," he said, reviewing notes. "You sure you haven't started the medication?" Leonard shook his head. "Nope, just staying hydrated, watching the sugar, trying to stay active." The doctor smiled. "Whatever you're doing, keep at it." But Leonard knew not every man would have the same outcome. He confided in a friend from the golf course, Frank, a burly, boisterous 70-year-old who grumbled often about his own plumbing issues. Leonard explained his experience, delicately at first. Frank stared at him, then burst out laughing. "You're telling me daily polishing the rocket fixed your prostate?" Leonard chuckled. "I'm telling you it helped. You should try it." Frank waved him off. "Not at my age." "Exactly at your age," Leonard said. A month later, Frank texted him, "You're on to something. Sleeping like a log. Thanks, buddy." Leonard grinned. The changes weren't all physical. There was something else, something subtle but powerful, about claiming his own wellness in a quiet, private way. It wasn't about sex. It wasn't about performance. It was about staying in touch with a body that still had rhythms, responses, needs. Masturbation wasn't a punchline or a secret, it was care. And care, Leonard had learned, could be surprisingly simple. As his 70th decade unfolded, Leonard didn't pretend to be invincible. He still saw his doctor, still ate his vegetables, still stretched before golf. But he had added something unexpected to his toolkit: a small, daily act of attention, of maintenance, of respect for a body still doing its best. And in that quiet act, he found not just comfort, but a kind of quiet pride.